This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Tidal Health.
You know, in every field, you have your milestones. Delmarva Life, for instance, it was just a few weeks ago when we expressed our gratitude to you as we recorded our 2000th episode. Now, a singer might celebrate a platinum album. A runner might celebrate crossing the finish line. Well, for a team at Tidal Health, the milestone they're celebrating today is one that saves lives. And we would like to welcome back to Historic Studio D and Delmarva Life. This is Stephen Wilson. He is a cardiac physician's assistant at Tidal Health Peninsula Regional. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure, Jim.
It is wonderful to see you again. Now, we are talking about a transcatheter aortic valve replacement.
Yes.
TAVR?
Correct.
TAVR. Explain to me what this thing is.
So this is a technology that's just developed over the last 10 years, pretty much. And it's a way that people who are too ill or have too many comorbidities to undergo a surgical procedure in terms of opening the chest and taking the valve out of the heart and replacing the valve. We can now go up through the groin arteries and into the heart and replace the valve that way. These valves are very small. They can be crunched up into a catheter about the size of a pencil and then inserted into the heart, and then they're deployed, opened up inside the old valve, pushing the old valve out of the way, and then it functions as a new aortic valve.
Okay.
Originally it was for people who were in their 80s and couldn't have heart surgery, and then there were people who had had previous valve replacements and those valves wore out and they needed to have that valve replaced. And so this technology allows us to do that.
So when you say comorbidities, that means there's just too much other stuff going on.
Correct. Kidney disease, diabetes, hypertension, older age.
Older age. Okay. And you have one here?
Yeah, well, these are just models, pretty much. These are the two different kinds of valves that we use. There's two companies that we work with, and we choose the valve based on characteristics of the anatomy that the patient has and what some of their needs might be.
Right.
So this valve, for instance, this valve, we can deploy that valve by putting it's crunched up very small, and then we put a catheter inside of it and we blow up the catheter and it expands the valve into the valve area. This valve is made from a special kind of metal. It's called nitinol, and when it's really cold, we put it in an ice bath. It can be scrunched up and put inside a catheter.
Right.
And then when it gets warmed up, it blossoms back out into the shape of valve that it's supposed to have.
What determines that you need this one instead of this one, or vice versa?
There's just a lot of anatomical considerations. The size, for instance, this valve comes in the largest size we have available, a 34 millimeter valve, and this valve does not have that size. So we often use it for that. This valve gets used a lot inside of people that already have a valve in place.
Okay.
This valve, the mechanism that we use to insert it into the patient, it seems to do better in people that have some peripheral vascular disease, so we often choose that valve for that.
So like legs or something like that?
Correct.
Gotcha. So how long have these been around? This is relatively new.
Relatively new. Europe is getting about 10 years of data now.
Right.
And United States is at about 7, but there were places that were doing studies before that, of course. We started the program here at Tidal Health in 2015. And we've started off that first year, we did 15 cases. Now we're doing 110, 120 cases a year.
Wow.
So it's really become huge. We just did our 500th case. So it's amazing technology. It's something that in my career, it's life-changing in terms of what it does for some of these people.
Did you ever think you'd see something like this?
No. This is the technology is amazing, but what it does for some of these patients that couldn't have heart surgery, and now they're staying out of the hospital, they're not going into heart failure, and they're breathing easier and going about their daily lives. It's just truly amazing.
Congratulations on 500. Where do you think it's going to go from here?
Wow. Well, we're already doing some procedures involving the mitral valve. We have a clip that we use at the hospital. It's called a MitraClip, and that enables us to reduce what is called mitral regurgitation. So, and then I think there'll come a day when we'll actually have a valve. They're working on it now, as a matter of fact, a valve to put inside the mitral apparatus, just like we do with the aortic valve.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is cardiac physician's assistant Stephen Wilson. Thank you so much.
My pleasure,
for
Tim.
talking to us today and bringing those. It's amazing to me, the things that are happening. Absolutely amazing.